You are not unhappy because your life is bad. You are unhappy because of 5 things you do every single day without even knowing it. And here is the part that stings a little. The happiest people around you are not more talented, more lucky, or more disciplined than you. They just quietly stopped doing the things that were draining them and started doing 5 almost invisible habits instead. Habits so small that most people scroll right past them looking for something bigger. By the end of this video, you are going to know exactly what those habits are, with the science behind each one and one specific action you can take today, not someday, today. And I promise you, number 4 is the one nobody ever talks about. It sounds almost too simple to be real, but once you hear the research behind it, you will not be able to unhear it. Now, before we get into the habits, I need to tell you something that most people in this space will never say out loud. We have been sold a lie about happiness. We have been told it is a destination, that once you get the relationship, the job, the body, the house, the money, then you will finally feel it. Then you will arrive. And so, most people spend their entire lives chasing a version of their life that is always just slightly out of reach. Here is what the research actually shows. A landmark study from the University of Illinois tracked thousands of people across their lifetimes and found that after a certain baseline of comfort is met, major life events, good or bad, account for only about 10% of your long-term happiness. 10%. The other 90% comes down to something researchers call intentional activity. The small, deliberate things you choose to do or not do every single day. That means your happiness is not waiting for something to happen. It is being quietly built or quietly destroyed right now in the habits you probably do not even notice you have. So here is exactly how this works. Habit number 1. They own the first 10 minutes of their morning before the world can steal them. Think about your typical morning. Your alarm goes off. Within 60 seconds, most people are already holding their phone, and within 2 minutes, they are deep inside a flood of other people's problems, opinions, emergencies, and highlight reels. Before they have even had a glass of water, their nervous system is already in a low-level state of stress. Here is why that matters. In the first 20 to 30 minutes after waking, your brain is in a uniquely receptive state. Your cortisol levels are naturally spiking, which is your body's way of priming you with energy and alertness for the day. Whatever you feed your mind during that window gets amplified. If you feed it chaos, your brain treats chaos as the baseline for your entire day. Happy people know this. Not always consciously, but they have figured out through trial and error that mornings feel different when they protect them. It does not have to be a long meditation or a 2-hour routine. It can be 10 minutes of silence, a slow cup of coffee, a short walk, or just sitting and letting your thoughts settle before the noise begins. Psychologist and author Dr. Laurie Santos, who teaches the most popular course in Yale University history on the science of happiness, points out that most people radically underestimate how much their environment shapes their emotional state. Your morning environment is the foundation everything else gets built on that day. Your action today. Tomorrow morning, before you touch your phone, give yourself 10 uninterrupted minutes. No news, no social media, no emails. Just exist for 10 minutes. That is the whole habit. Now here is what is interesting. That first habit is really about protecting your attention. And the second habit takes that idea even further because happy people are ruthlessly intentional about where their attention goes for the entire day, not just the morning. Habit number 2. Happy people track what they finish, not just what is left to do. Most people run their days off a to-do list, and to-do lists are useful. But here is the problem. A to-do list is a document that only ever shows you what you have not done yet. You finish 10 things and add 2 more, and at the end of the day, the list is still long, and you feel like you accomplished nothing. Happy people often keep what some researchers call a done list alongside their to-do list, or sometimes instead of it. A simple record of what they actually completed, no matter how small. Teresa Amabile, a professor at Harvard Business School, spent years studying what drives positive emotion and motivation at work. Her research found that the single most powerful driver of good feeling during a workday is what she calls the progress principle. People feel genuinely good when they can see that they moved forward, even slightly, on something that matters to them. The problem is, most people never register their own progress because they are too focused on what is still undone. Your action today. Tonight, before you sleep, write down 3 things you actually did today. Not things you should have done, not goals for tomorrow. 3 real things you did. Feel what that feels like. And now, here is a question I want you to sit with for a moment. How much of your mental energy right now is being spent on things you genuinely cannot change? Because this next habit is all about that. Habit number 3. They treat their mental energy like it is a limited and precious resource, because it is. Here is a way to think about it. Imagine you started every morning with 100 coins of mental energy. Every time you spend 10 minutes replaying an argument that is already over, that costs you coins. Every time you scroll through content that makes you feel worse about your own life, that costs you coins. Every time you worry about something that has not happened and probably will not happen, that costs you coins. By noon, most people are already running at 30%, and they wonder why they feel exhausted and irritable by the afternoon. Happy people are not immune to stress or negativity. They just got very deliberate, often quietly and without announcing it to anyone, about what they choose to engage with and what they choose to let pass. They have learned to ask one very simple question when something is pulling at their attention. Is engaging with this going to produce any useful result? If the answer is no, they let it go. Not because they are superhuman, because they have practiced it long enough that it became automatic. This is not toxic positivity. This is not pretending problems do not exist. It is editing. It is choosing where your limited coins get spent. Your action today? Identify one recurring thing in your life that drains your mental energy every single time and produces 0 useful outcome. One thing. And make one small decision this week to engage with it less. Now hold on, because the next habit is where most people I talk to have a moment of genuine surprise. I have shared this with people who considered themselves pretty self-aware, and almost every one of them said they had never thought about it this way. Habit number 4. Happy people manufacture gratitude on purpose. They do not wait to feel it. Here is what most people think gratitude is. They think it is a feeling that shows up naturally when good things happen. You get good news, you feel grateful. Makes sense. But happy people have figured out something that neuroscience actually backs up. Gratitude is not just a feeling. It is a skill. And like any skill, you can practice it deliberately, even when it does not come naturally, and especially when it does not. Neuroscientist Rick Hansen, who has spent decades studying how the human brain processes experience, explains that the brain has what he calls a negativity bias. Your brain is literally wired to hold on to negative experiences more tightly and for longer than positive ones. This was an excellent survival feature for early humans, who needed to remember where the dangerous predators lived. In modern life, it mostly just means your brain is naturally better at collecting bad memories than good ones. The fix that happy people have quietly stumbled onto is almost embarrassingly straightforward. When something good happens, even something tiny, they pause. They stay with that feeling deliberately for 15 to 20 seconds, long enough for the brain to actually encode it as a real memory rather than letting it slip by unregistered. Hansen calls this letting the good soak in, and the research shows it genuinely reshapes the neural pathways your brain uses to process daily experience over time. You do not need a gratitude journal. You do not need a morning ritual. You just need 20 seconds of deliberate attention on something that feels even slightly good. Your action today. Before tonight, find one thing that feels good, even a small thing, and sit with it for 20 seconds. A meal you enjoyed, a moment of quiet, a message from someone you care about. 20 seconds of staying present with it. That is the whole habit. Now, I want to pause here and tell you something, because this next point is genuinely worth sharing with someone you care about. In fact, if you have been watching this with someone, or if someone in your life is going through a hard time, send this to them after. Because what I am about to tell you about the fifth habit is something that can change not just how you feel, but how your closest relationships feel. Researchers at the University of North Carolina conducted a series of studies on what they called capitalization, which is the act of sharing good news and positive moments with other people. What they found stopped me when I first read it. People who regularly shared small, positive moments with others, even tiny things like mentioning something good that happened during their day, reported dramatically higher life satisfaction, stronger relationships, and more resilience during hard times than people who kept those moments to themselves. Sharing good things does not just communicate them, it amplifies them in your brain and in the relationship. And here is the flip side. Most people are far more likely to reach out to someone when something goes wrong than when something goes right. Think about your own habits. When did you last call or text someone just to share something good that happened? For most people, that ratio is way off. Habit number 5. They share small, good moments with the people they love, consistently, and without waiting for a reason. It does not have to be a big announcement. It can be a 2-sentence text. It can be mentioning over dinner that something made you smile today. It can be calling someone just to say something good happened. The habit is simply making the good things visible to the people around you, instead of only making the hard things visible. Your action today. The next time something good happens, anything at all, tell one person. That is it. Watch what it does to how you feel about that moment, and watch what it does to that relationship over time. Now, everything I have shared so far matters. These 5 habits are real, they are backed by research, and they work. But I want to leave you with something that runs underneath all of them. Something that makes every single one of these habits easier to build and sustain. Here it is. The way you talk to yourself about yourself is either the foundation everything else gets built on, or the crack that slowly undermines everything you try to build. Most people have a running internal voice that narrates their life, and for a staggering number of people, that voice is harsher, more critical, and less fair than anything they would ever say to a friend. You make a mistake, and the voice calls you an idiot. You fall short of a goal, and the voice reminds you of every other time you fell short. You try something new, and the voice starts listing all the reasons it will probably not work. Psychologist Kristin Neff has spent her career researching self-compassion, and her findings are consistent and clear. People who treat themselves with the same basic kindness and fairness they would offer a good friend show higher resilience, lower anxiety, stronger motivation, and greater happiness than people who rely on self-criticism to try to push themselves forward. Self-criticism does not make you better. It mostly makes you tired and afraid. Happy people are not arrogant. They are not delusional about their flaws. They have simply decided at some point to be a fair witness to themselves, to apply the same basic standards of decency to the way they speak to themselves that they apply to the way they speak to people they love. Your action today. Just notice. Pay attention today to how the voice in your head talks to you when things go wrong or when you fall short. You do not have to fix it yet. You cannot fix something you have not seen. Just catch it today. That awareness alone starts to change things.